we all would agree
I
with
forgot
that.
to press record, but we are recording now. We're good.
All right. We got everybody here that's supposed to be here.
Is Terry still in the waiting room, or did you admit her?
What's that?
You just have to leave that side panel up, otherwise you can't see people that are trying to come in.
Yep.
So you're good.
Casey, can you hear me?
Can you see Terry waiting?
Did you admit Terry in the waiting room?
I don't see Terry.
You don't see Terry?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Maybe something came up. We have a quorum.
All right. So let's call the meeting to order. This is the meeting of the Green Bay Housing Authority for August 19th. And I think we have roll call. So let's get started. Item number one. Oh, now I just lost my agenda here. Let me pull that back up.
And we just lost Steve.
Well, it's like he was walking around, maybe trying to find better internet connection or something.
I think it's right. Steve, I saw Steve walking around, so.
Okay. So our first item is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any additions or modifications to the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good, motion carries. Item D, approval of the minutes from the June 17th, 2021 meeting of the Green Bay Housing Authority. That is those minutes are in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain.
Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Very good.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Otherwise, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Motion carries. Item E, number one, consideration with possible action to award RFP 2021-23 Mason Manor Development Services to Gorman and Company LLC for the redevelopment of Mason Manor. And I will say I participated in the action to review all this, and I can't tell you how happy Cheryl was as we got through this. She was, I think, almost dancing in her office there. So, Cheryl, I'll let you take it from here.
Right. So, this is just another step in our process for the redevelopment of Mason Manor. We went through a formal bidding process through our purchasing department. And with that, we came up with it. We had a committee of people that reviewed the applications that came in or the proposals that came in. The people who scored were Bill Vandecastle, myself, Jamie, and Stephanie Schmutzer. We actually are the ones that scored, but we also had reps from Baker Tilly there, and our purchasing agent, Kelvin, our purchasing director, Kelvin, was there as well to guide us through the process of consensus scoring. So we had three proposals that came in: Commonwealth Development, Gorman, and Northern Star Companies. They actually were all, I think they were all good proposals that came in. One of them had just a lot less experience than the other two. So it really was between, as you can see from the scoring, between Commonwealth and Gorman. The factors that we looked at, were organizational, how they were going to finance that approach, costs, qualifications, whether or not they were going to work within the HUD parameters that we needed to for minority-based businesses in Section 3. And so when we all looked at the consensus scoring, some of the reasons why we went with Gorman and Company were, I'll tell you what they were. We felt they had 30 years experience doing this type of work, which we were really happy with. They're planning to use local contractors on the project. They're going to assist us with the relocation of tenants, and their goal is to keep the tenants in Mason Manor. So as we have units that become vacant, we'll be able to move our tenants within the building without having to have an additional site off-site to pick from, which we think is very advantageous to the tenants. They're going to work with our staff with regards to management of the units after completion. There are specific tax credit requirements when you manage tax credit rental units. Some developers would prefer to have their team come in and do that. Some developers are more open with working with our team to do that, with training and some other things, and they were willing to do that. And the developer fee with us 50/50. They are the only one that actually talked to us about potential of historic tax. See, that if we find out that we have to keep the spiral on the front, the spiral walk or drive on the front, we may be eligible for historic tax credits. This team, Gorman, worked with Wausau Housing Authority, and they did a very similar project to ours in Mason Manor. There are 10 stories, we had 8, but same construction, same type of issues that we had. And they just seemed more flexible in working with the Housing Authority as a partner in this project when we work through the process, I think, than the other developers that submitted. I think so for those reasons, they actually scored 100 out of 100 points. If Jamie or Steph or Bill, if you have any other comments of something that I missed when reviewing those.
No, I think that is well stated. It was a lot of documents to go through and analyze with their RFPs. But I think there was some pretty vigorous discussion about the pros and cons of each response. I would say I was a little surprised when we added it up that Gorman ended up with 100, but that's how it worked out as the scoring went. We all pretty much saw that Gorman was, I don't want to say head and shoulders above everybody else, but slightly ahead of everybody else with what they had on the table for us to consider. So.
If you want copies of these RFPs, I can send them to you, but I was advised to not provide those as part of this packet, as part of the bidding process, and how this worked through purchasing. So, but if any of the board members would like to, I can email you what we got if you're interested in reading through them.
Is there like a short summary of what you just said that is somewhere that we could have? That's what I guess I would like. I'm sorry, Cheryl. I know that probably the RFP is like a 100-page document and we don't need to see that, but yeah.
No, there's not.
There isn't. I wish there was. It would have made the analysis a lot easier, maybe, but
sure.
It was, well, maybe it wouldn't have, because the devil's in the details sort of thing, and that's where all the things that Cheryl brought up were embedded in there that we had to kind of sort through. So there really isn't a shortened version of it.
Okay.
And the way it was explained to me, Sandy, through our purchasing director, was that this is really a formalized process that the team that this committee assigned to do this work did the work. So really the board is approving this or not. There's no through them and deciding this way or that work has already been done by this team. So really legally, the only thing this board can do is either accept it or not accept it. Because of the way the scoring came out, right? And the way that it's bid.
Right, but we do need to provide, as we did, provide you with how the scoring came out. So, and you can see the categories that were looked at in terms of the scoring and how they did score. So, it's almost like accepting a bid for a piece of buying a piece of equipment or something, the lowest responsible bidder type of thing. This is the best responsible contractor sort of thing with this, based on that scoring. So we looked at all the things that were important to us, and that's how they scored out. So.
Okay. And then Aaron, are you familiar with what's even happening? Aaron?
Sorry, I'm having problems with my audio. Yeah.
Okay, that's all, because I just thought with Aaron being new on the board, maybe a summary of why we're even doing this. And then that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly if anybody needs any refresher on Mason Manor and the issues that we're having there and, what we need to do, it's really the issue is that the building is outdated, obsolete in many ways. We need to do major upgrades, and the capital dollars provided by HUD is not providing that for us. So we need to go out and find tax credits and developers who will work with us through a repositioning of the building, which allow us to refinance it, get more money, do this major repair. And it does not affect the tenants. They'll still be within their 30% of income. But it's just another way for us to get the building up to speed where it should be.
I have a question.
Yep.
You mentioned historic tax credits. Is Mason Manor on the National Register?
I don't think it is.
Looking the last time, I think we were here, but I don't think we were formally on the register. They're
Right.
trying to find something.
They were older than 50 years, that there may be a qualification that way. And they also, did anybody important ever sit on a board? Was there a Packer player at some, I don't know. You try to find stuff that qualifies things for historic tax credits, but.
Well, yeah, I've worked with historic tax credits. It's not, 20% is cool. Everybody loves 20%, but you have to actually restore stuff. No, that's really what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't, the qualifications that come with historic tax credits include building to the secretary standards for interior renovation. And that's the opposite of what Mason Manor needs. Mason Manor needs updating, not restoration. I don't want to turn down money, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't look into that, but I would be really interested to see what criteria comes along with that sort of thing. It doesn't matter. I assume we're working to a motion to approve this. Is there a protocol in place for thanking the respective
Team?
Yeah, well, or team and the other bidders, for lack of a better word. My firm does a fair amount of these things, and I know that I always want to hear why we didn't get something. Do you have a thanks but no thanks letter in mind, or a protocol in place for disclosing or not disclosing any of the information on your rubric?
So we don't handle that. That's handled through purchasing. So I'm not sure what they do. I assume that all bidders have received notice of what's going on. I think that's what Kelvin said, but I don't know if it's a thank you for bidding or what the letter says, but I believe the process is going through purchasing. I'll certainly do whatever how about this? I will say to you, I will do whatever I can to provide something to the other developers. Well, thank you.
I think that at a minimum, that would be polite, and sometime in the future, we'll need more bids on things, and we want to keep that relationship open, even if this isn't the right dance. So that would make me feel better. After that, I would head straight towards a motion. That's a tremendous amount of work, and you guys are awesome sauce.
Yeah, kudos.
So is there a motion to approve Gorman, the RFP from Gorman?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Oh,
All right,
Aaron
so-
seconded too. So
Okay. All right, Aaron, I'll let it go with you. Is any further questions or discussion about any of this? All right. I have the approval of the Gorman RFP on the basis of the scoring that was done by the subcommittee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye, and thanks again to the subcommittee.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Very good. Thank you very much. That
I'm excited.
kind of brings to
You
a
imagine?
close. Cheryl, if you can do your dance again if you want. All right, we'll move on to the informational items. Item number 1, GBHA bills. Those are in your packet. Stephanie, any highlights?
Or low lights.
Yeah.
Real big. There's 2 of them in there, June, because we didn't have a July meeting. So there's 2 sets of them in there. June is a little bit bigger than normal because I do try to run an extra check run right at the end of the month, since it's the close of our year, to try to clear out as much as I can. But that's the only difference than normal.
All right. All right. Any questions from anybody? All right, hearing none, let's move on to the GBHA financial report. Again, Stephanie, the floor is yours.
That was in your packet. Only new thing there is that we have started our new year, so we're not over budget in
Always a good start.
Yep.
It is.
So, and hopefully everything will continue to run smoothly. I don't really foresee any issues. It'll all just depend on how things change once we moved over to the new model.
Okay.
And when we get the scatter site, this is just another question for review. Cheryl, how many so that will leave not section 8, that will leave voucher apartments open, correct? I mean, we'll have more vouchers then. How does that work? So they just won't be tied and we can improve what? For more housing with vouchers.
That's actually more public housing.
Correct, that's what I mean. So thank you for clarifying my stumbling here.
So when the Section 18 transfer over, what that does is it frees up public housing units that we can then buy, construct. We'll have 48 units that we can do what we wish with. So, which would be good because we could build something new. Then it would be new. We wouldn't have to worry about maintenance as much. And we could do those, I think, scattered site or in smaller groups or whatever that is. So that's the plus for the scattered site. Same thing would apply for Mason Manor because a number of those units are going to go, I think, a portion of them through Section 18, and that would free those up to create more public housing units. So that's a definite.
Okay.
Which is what we need.
Yes.
So overall, this will be a very good plan. So thank you for the review again.
All right. Any further? Go ahead.
I'm here. I've been in and out. Somebody help me get connected, but I've been hearing everything. So I vote yes, Bill, on the plan.
Okay. Well, so noted. All right. Any further questions on the financial report? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the Langen report, which is also in your packet. Any questions? None? All right. Then let's move on to the director's report. Sure.
Okay, just a couple of things. I've been meeting, I'm actually on a committee with the Brown County Housing Authority, and they're looking at transitioning their program a little bit to a more project-based voucher program. So they're trying to entice landlords to, instead of having the voucher, that voucher would go with the property. So they're going to be working on that. I'm going to be working with the developers we have in the city, to say with our new housing developments, hey, how about throwing 8 voucher units in there so we can try to mix some of those incomes up. So I think that's a positive thing with the housing authority. And then we were just contacted actually this week from council that is going to request that the housing authority issue additional housing bonds for the dormitories that are going to be built out at UWGB. Okay. So probably at the next meeting, we haven't gotten any information yet on what our fees are going to be, what
Bless you.
To us will be, but we do receive, this is a monetary benefit to us when we issue these bonds. So we'll get more information, and they want to come back, I think, to the September GBHA to pass the resolution for the bonds. So that will be coming next meeting.
So is there any talk, Cheryl, about any new development that we can work with on accessibility?
Not in
the Bay Area?
There's been a lot of talk of projects, but we haven't seen any new stuff coming through.
Okay.
And we do pitch that. Sandy.
Good.
I had on a side note, I had the new WIDA representative who replaced Debbie.
Debbie retired or left, do you know?
Debbie retired. And the gentleman who replaced her is John Searles. He lives in Appleton, but he came up and I gave him a tour and I took him through Mason Manor. He's the guy that's going to help decide on those 4% non-competitive tax credits that we're going to be applying for. So he thought it was he loved Mason Manor. He thought it would be a great project there. Many of the things we looked at were like roll-in showers and some of those conversions in the units to make them more accessible. So he was very excited about what's happening in Green Bay. So that was good.
Good.
Okay.
That's all I got, Bill.
Just a couple of questions. You know, with all the COVID stuff going on again, how are we doing COVID-wise at Mason Manor?
I have not heard of any tenants test positive, probably in a
great.
couple weeks or months now. So
Okay.
our service coordinator is setting up all the vaccines and the as a host site here for Strews. So I know that we have had quite a few tenants get vaccinated, and we are looking at the booster when it becomes available with Strews.
Sure.
So, but COVID cases, I have not heard of any in a couple
Oh,
weeks or
great.
months.
That's excellent.
Good question, Bill. Thanks.
Yeah, any, you know, all this masking stuff is a big issue floating around. Any issues there with the masking stuff? And I don't know if Cheryl, if you're going on any of this.
I'm sorry, Bill, you cut out. Are you asking?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you heard anything about what the city's going to do about masking requirements? Are they going back or still under advisement?
Well, right now, you have to mask if you're not vaccinated in City Hall. I haven't heard anything of lately, but I suspect that it's probably just going to be masking. Everyone's going to be masking at some point coming up. Although nothing has changed with meetings or committees or anything like that. So
Okay.
And Jamie, what's the protocol at Mason Manor?
We're following City Halls. Just if you're vaccinated, you don't necessarily have to wear a mask.
Okay.
But since COVID started, we've always struggled with tenants wearing masks. So
Oh, okay. Was just wondering.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheryl, two more quick ones, or maybe not. A while back, I remember that the city took one of our duplexes or something over on Webster. Whatever became of all of that? Were those ever replaced?
No, because we didn't purchase it. I mean, I think the cost of it was
low 90s.
I couldn't buy anything for that.
Okay.
But so that just kind of went until, but it's still in our fair claw. So
Okay.
we don't lose that number ever.
Right.
When we didn't purchase it then, it's still in our count.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And then the other question I have is, this one even goes back a little further maybe. We had talked at one time with NeighborWorks about some housing project that they were going to, I want to say it was on Ashland Avenue or somewhere over there, where they were going to convert a building into some apartment units, low-income apartment units. And I haven't really heard anything more about that in the last year or so. Anything going with that, or did that kind of fizzle out?
Would have been when Noel came and talked to us, Bill? Is that what you?
Yes.
That was before I was on.
Oh,
Okay.
was it?
Oh, well, yeah.
Did we finance it? Was there a loan on it or?
I don't think so. I think that they were looking at, it was a proposal at one time, and I think they might have been looking for some financing from us
They
to
were.
help develop it.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all the specifics, but
So, Bill, I think they did ask for money from us, and we decided not to assist.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they did that project. I could be wrong, but I'm not thinking of any conversion stuff, NeighborWorks.
Yeah.
On the west side part.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think it's because we didn't assist.
Bill, you feeling nostalgic or something today? Where's all this?
No,
stuff
I
coming
just
from?
two reasons. I went past. I was on Webster the other day, and I went past that area, and it popped in my mind. Did we ever do anything with that? And then I was on Ashland the other day, and there's an old like apartment building, a brick building, and it looked like some work was being done on it. And I thought, well, maybe that was the project that we were talking about with NeighborWorks. And I was just wondering if that was, because they were talking about converting it into some low income housing. And I thought, well, that would be kind of an appropriate area for it over there if they were doing that. But I don't know what's going on with this building, but it looked like they were doing some work on it.
Is that?
Didn't they want to trade us for something?
I'm thinking, Bill, was that not when NeighborWorks, when we had the lien on their property at the farmery and we converted that mortgage
That's,
into the apartments on Ashland?
That might be it.
So I feel like we have a lien on those apartments on Ashland.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that even in the city limits? Isn't that Ashwaubenon?
I think before Lombardi, it's still Green Bay. After Lombardi, it's Ashwaubenon.
Yep.
Are you an East Sider or what?
That's split.
I'm not.
All right.
No, I'm not. I'm just, I'm bad with space, spatial proportions.
So yeah, that's why the stadium is actually in Ashwaubenon.
Stadium is not in Ashwaubenon. The stadium.
I'm teasing you.
Yeah, Ashwaubenon Packers.
Yeah, but Ashwaubenon's reaping the benefits of all that
Correct.
property
Yes,
tax.
they do.
Watertown Park,
So they have a lot to say. Yep.
All right. Enough for the we'll march back through time here. Next, we have the occupancy report.
All right, so that is in your packet. We did have a few tenants vacate at the end of July that we are working on leasing up. And we just have one scattered site that's vacant right now that we are actually transferring. She's a current scattered site and we're going to transfer her to a smaller unit that she qualifies for. So we're doing great. I had a HUD conference call yesterday and they are very impressed with where our numbers are considering all of our extenuating circumstances.
Yeah. Good. Good job.
Very good.
very good.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Then last item before adjournment is the date of our next meeting. It's September 16th. Hard to say September already. That kind of hurts. But so September 16th, 10:30 again. And I'm assuming we'll continue doing it by Zoom at that point yet, the way things are going. All right. Anything else for the good of the order here before we go to adjournment? No. Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
You have a motion? Is there a second?
Second,
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Bye, all. Have a good rest
Enjoy
of the
the rest of
summer.
your summer.
Steve, I wanted to say you look very nice. You're all clean cut,
Yes.
I
I noticed that too.
You finally got a haircut.
Thanks. Thank you.
Your wife finally got to you, huh?
Yeah, no, she's a hairdresser, Terry.
I know.
I'm like the shoemaker's son. It's hard to
You never get cut by her. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
You're
right,
looking
bye,
good
guys.
though.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
Forget to stop the video. Stop recording.
Okay. Bye.